Hello and welcome to Sarge's Custom Tutorials. Today we're going to be looking at a couple of Harvinger Studios Savage Crucible figures. We have the Lemurian Savage and this is Como of the Isles. This is going to be more of a high-level review and kind of a pop and swap for the figures. And I'll go through articulation very quickly, but for a more detailed video you can see detailed review and unboxing for the slate, and I'll also be kind of swapping some parts out with that. So without further ado, let's get these guys out of the box and take a closer look. Alright, so we're going to change it up a little bit here because I shot this video complete from beginning to end, and when I looked at the footage when I was finished, the focus kept jumping between the figure in my hand and the figures in the background, so taking those away, and I'll probably do something similar in the future as far as like maybe putting some packages in the background that are a little simpler rather than all the figures that I do my comparisons with, because it just, I've had this happen on a couple videos where the focus just jumps around and I've cut around it, but this time it was just the entire video was completely out of focus. So one more thing before we move on that I wanted to talk about for the packaging is here is, if you can get good close-up on Como's. This is Como of the Isles backstory, and it's exactly why I wanted to get this figure. Like, just the idea of a half human, half lizard who is of royal blood, and he's been shunned by both sides. I didn't know his backstory when I bought him, but that's exactly kind of the story that I had in mind. Is he was, you know, somebody important. He's a half-breed who's shunned by both sides. It's just such a cool story. So the other thing, before I move on, is when you open the box, they have this little warning here letting you know, one, to warm up your figures before you move the joints around. Heat gun, hair dryer, hot water, however you want to do it, but also look behind the map. So you look in there is where you get your game cards. Don't forget your game cards, and don't forget to warm them up before you start. Okay, so before we warm the figures up, for a quick articulation overview, we'll just get a quick close-up on the figures. He's got more human feet compared to the Lemurians. All the paint on him is very clean. Paint on his eyes is really clean. Now for the Savage, again, it has the same head as the Slate. This is essentially the same figure as the Slate. It's just paint. It's got a lot more paint on it. The jaw is a little bit loose. It won't stay closed all the way. It's not like broken anywhere, but it is just a little bit loose. He has kind of like a shimmery effect on him, but it's kind of a similar shimmer to the skin on the Slate, but that's just the plastic. I know they did something special to the plastic to give it that shimmer. Legs. There's paint on the tail. The other thing I noticed too is that the green, this green has kind of like a darker tint to it, and this knee joint is the same. But then if you look at the elbow joint, it's kind of the dark up here and here, but then the green is real bright on the elbow. Like they didn't do a wash on there with that darker green. This one's pretty good. They just missed it on here. And one more thing of note, and this goes to kind of the integrity of Harvinger Studios. These are the original feet with the toe hinge. Now a lot of people complain that they wouldn't stand up because of the toe hinge, and it really wasn't because of the toe hinge. The toe hinge was calling out the problem, but the problem is actually because the feet, I think the pin going into the foot was like too big or something, but let's see if we can get a really good close-up on the foot. The bottom of the foot's not flat. There's a bump right there. It's behind the hinge. The hinge is there. The bump is about here. So say if I'll pull his toes up and I set him on his feet, he kind of rocks on that spot a little bit. So that's why the figures were falling over. These on the slate are the new feet. And I have the replacement feet for these guys too. I'll pop them on there once we get to that point. But if you look at this, it's much more flat. So anyway, really, really awesome customer service, taking care of their customers from Harvinger Studios. Okay, we're gonna warm these guys up and we'll do some articulation and popping and swapping. Okay, we've warmed up the figure, so I'll just very quickly go through articulation. Heads on a double ball peg, shoulders are on a butterfly joint. It's kind of like the old Toy Biz butterfly joints. It comes forward, so like the pin is right here, and it just rolls forward on that pin. Shoulders go up past horizontal. That's about as far as you go. So you have a bicep swivel there, which is kind of like a floating piece, and you have double elbow with a swivel and a swivel at the forearm, and you have a swivel and a hinge at the wrist. So the wrists, weapon holding hands are vertical, and the other hands are horizontal. Double ball joint at in the mid torso. There's also a ball joint right here. Really, really good range down there as well. So when you use them together, really, really good range. The joint inside the leg here, so that's just a standard ball joint. It's full splits. Forward, there's no back because of the diaper. You do get rotation on that ball as well as a regular thigh cut there. And then similar to the elbow, double jointed knees with a swivel there and on the calf. And then again, these are the original feet, but you get hinge with a twist there and a rocker, so it operates essentially as a ball joint. And if you have the original feet, there's the toe hinge. That's pretty good. It's not too loose, but as you've seen, it doesn't really, if the figure's leaning forward, they're not quite strong enough to hold them up, but if you're using a stand, you can get them into some pretty good poses. So this is the loincloth that came on the Savage. This is the one that originally came on the slate, but I did a black wash on it, and I think I painted the ropes a different brown color. It was originally all kind of that color, and so I added a black wash on there, and I think that's gonna look, looks a whole lot better than the lighter color, in my opinion. They both look good. They're both well done. But I like that darker color a little bit more. Also the head. There we go. This guy, this head is much more like a kind of a dinosaur type of raptor-y looking head. So that's, when I think Lemurian Savage, that's definitely the head that I want. And then I don't have two of the same heads on two different figures. And like the other one, like the up is still kind of limited. He comes with the same sword that the slate comes with. Originally, this sword came with the slate, but it was all this same color. Like even the bone was this same kind of bronzy metal color. And I painted the bone, gave it a wash, and I painted these little brown straps, and I think that kind of like fits the overall figure a bit more now. Also works well with the orange there, orange and the brown. I like this armor on him a lot, and it fits with the character. It's in his bio that he becomes like a monster hunter. So I like this armor on him. I do want to see what it'll look like on the slate, because I think that'll look pretty cool, but I think it's going to stay on him until maybe I can get another character pack. But I want like some straps or something here. So this is out of the Huntsman's pack, And I could paint it, but I want to see what that's going to look like before I take him all apart. So these two pieces are separate pieces that are plugged into, he's got like holes in the back of his neck and in holes in the back of his shoulder. So these don't really get in the way of articulation because they move around separately. You can make them look like they're one piece, but really it's two separate pieces that are on two different ball joints. Ball joint here, and they move around really well. So you can put the strap kind of in between them, having some way for the armor to be like attached to him, and it looks kind of like skin too, so it could be like the skin underneath these scales. All right, we're gonna warm all these guys up, and then we will pull them apart and swap some armor. We got all these pieces warmed up now, so you can see kind of how easily they just pop apart. Real simple. These wraps are an actual piece. It's not like a cover over the leg. Same with here. So ski these pieces. Again, they're just like with a ball peg that goes into the back of the neck there. And these guys are kind of the same idea. And these little pins can come out of this piece, but you can just pop them back in there. They go in pretty easily. So the plastic, when you heat it up, it does kind of, it cools down kind of fast, and it gets hard again pretty fast. So you'll find sometimes, like I just pulled these guys all apart. By the time I got them completely apart, these things that I also warmed up are already kind of hard again. So I got to warm these up again before I can put them back together. Okay, so like I said, once it's warmed up, these pieces peg there, real simply pop in there, back of his arm, that, yeah, that looks really cool. This orange color looks pretty cool on this dark skin. So the pieces most of the time have like a little letter on the inside of there. I can't really tell. I think that's an L. Yeah, that's definitely an R on the inside of there. So that's the right leg. And these things on here are pretty pointy and sharp when they're cooled down and hard, so keep an eye out for those. They will stab you. Same with the forearms, have a little letter inside there. A lot of people get kind of frustrated. Obviously, there have been some QC issues with some of these breaking, but I feel like most of the time it's because people don't warm up their figures before they try to move them around. Not every time. I mean, once you do it once, you hope you don't have to do it again. But these guys, the joints on these are kind of extra tight. So, especially the ratcheted ones, like the problem one that I've seen more than once is this upper joint on the knee. That one is a little bit, the ratchet itself, it still will rotate just fine, but the ratchet itself gets real tight. And so people have broke that pin off in there. So definitely always warm up your figures every time you move them around. Warm them up. Another thing you can do is once they are warmed up, just work the joint on both legs. They will loosen up, and not to the point where they won't hold a pose anymore, but it'll wear those ratchets down just enough to be able to move them around a little bit. I personally don't mind that they get tight because I always warm my figures up anyway before I move them around. But just be aware. The hands and the fingers are pretty soft as well. They really cool looking armor set for this guy. But I do think it's going to still be, it's still going to stay on Como because I like the whole Monster Hunter armor. He's the hero here. He deserves the cool armor, but this looks really awesome. And this is using the Huntsman's Pack stuff. got your Savage Como. So this is the head, spare head for Como. And it looks really cool. It doesn't have an articulated jaw for some reason. I don't really know why. It'd be really cool if it did. Unless I get another Como, I'm not going to be using this, but it does look pretty cool. It's a cool head, but does not beat the story behind the half-human head. I'm going to put this is the other Huntsman's Pack armor. I'll try that on him and see what it looks like. Yeah, I don't think I like the color, these colors with his skin color. It doesn't really pop very much. So it's pretty cool looking. It's a very cool looking armor set. Some tusks, big fur dress on the back. I just don't think, it's very cool looking, I just don't know if the colors work so well with him as far as just the flow. Before I take him all apart, one thing I will mention is that this particular piece on the from the Huntsman's Pack is pretty chunky. It makes him pretty back heavy, or very top heavy, so he wants to fall back. He's really got to be leaning forward. Even just a little nudge will make him fall back. You could probably take, it's real thick, so you could very carefully take a Dremel and kind of carve the inside of this out so it's a lot thinner. These pieces, it wouldn't work. I think these are separate pieces that are glued on, so you wouldn't be able to hollow these out at all, but you could at least make this piece a little bit lighter. It's like a good 1/8 inch thick here to like a 1/4 inch thick right here, so that could be a lot thinner, and you would never know. It's all going to be on the inside. So now for some comparison shots. Here is the Savage with some Zezre Studios combatants. Here he is with the Mythic Legion's Legendary Barbarian and the Frazetta Girls Norseman. Here he is with a NECA Dungeons & Dragons Warduke and a custom Conan made from a NECA Flash Gordon Ming the Merciless. Here he is with a Marvel Legends Khazar, and this is a custom Dwarf Warrior using a Masters of the Universe Origins He-Man. Here he is with a custom Conan using a Masterverse Savage He-Man and the Loose Collector Red Sonja. And finally, here he is with a custom Elder Scrolls Skyrim Dragonborn using the AEW Elite Stu Grayson figure. And in honor of his recent passing, the custom I made of Val Kilmer's Mad Mardigan using a Diamond Select Azrael figure. And unfortunately, we lost Val recently, and we'll miss you. Okay, final thoughts on these guys. As with the Lemurian Slate, the Lemurian Savage, which is the same figure but with a whole lot more paint on it, is great figure. The addition of the Huntsman's Pack head really does a lot for it. I like this head, but say I only have 3 in my collection, they're going to have different heads, and this one is amazing. And then you have Como of the Isle, who just looks amazing. Great backstory, great character. Love the half-human head sculpt, with several accessories from the Huntsman's Pack here. I added this little belt here. I think that works really well. Yeah, just a great overall looking figure. Love the story for the figure. I haven't read the graphic novel. I will eventually get it, but great figures, great company. Go, support this company. They take care of their customers. When the stupid tariffs were at about 50%, they said that they would eat the cost. Whether that's still the case, I don't know. Now that they're triple that, we'll see how it goes, I guess. But regardless of that, this is a great company, even though they're, even when they are 50%, if they're willing to eat that cost for people who backed the Kickstarter, like, that's awesome. So, great independent company, worth supporting. They're making great figures. Only downside, I would say, is that just the joints are very tight. So before you move them, if you're pulling them off the shelf, that's been, if it's been on the shelf for a little while and you want to pull it off and change a pose, you got to warm up the figures. They wouldn't put the note on the box if they didn't mean it. So yeah, warm up your figures before you move them around. You shouldn't have any issues. Really fun figures, great characters. I'm really looking forward to the rest of this line. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're looking forward to from this line. They got a few different Frazetta figures coming out. I'm really looking forward to the Warrior Ball and Chain. I got him in the Kickstarter. I just pre-ordered the Death Dealer, and I'll probably end up getting another one before the pre-order window closes. Just because there's so many different looks you can do with that one figure, so gotta have two. And I know they're working on a couple more Frazetta figures, including that one. I think the next one I said is a female figure. So definitely excited to see what Harvinger Studios can do. Anyway, have a good one, and thanks for watching Sarge's Custom Tutorials.